We are drafting from the number 6 draft pick in a 10-team full PPR league. You can do these mock drafts on the Sleeper app. That's where we're drafting from today. And going from the number 6 position, Jahmyr Gibbs falls to us as a running back option, while CeeDee Lamb as a wide receiver falls to us. Either are great picks at number 6. You may not normally see both fall. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown going as early as he did in this mock draft is pretty uncommon. We're going to take, though, a swing at Jahmyr Gibbs with our pick. Like I said, Lamb or Gibbs, you could have gone either way. But generally, in a 10-team league, which I consider that to be a little more shallow than most of the 12-team or 14-team leagues that I play, I want to make sure I'm getting an elite locked-in running back early. I don't necessarily need 2, but I do certainly want to have 1, and I love Jahmyr Gibbs this year. Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers, Drake London, some of the names at the top of the queue here in ADP. Josh Allen at number 21. It would be a little early to take him, but we don't really expect him to get back to us in the 3rd round. That's okay. I'm really between Brian Thomas and Brock Bowers here. Thomas is my favorite receiver on the board. London, A.J. Brown, McConkey, Tyreek Hill. I'm looking Bowers there. I should say I'm looking at Brian Thomas there. At tight end, Bowers would really give you a positional advantage at tight end, so I'm interested in that. Could go either way. Down to the end, I'm going to go with the tight end here in a 10-team format because I think I can find more value at wide receiver later in this draft. The values in round 6, 7, maybe even 8 are going to be so much more pronounced in a 10-team league. So we'll go Brock Bowers. We'll get the number 1 tight end on the board. Before our pick comes up in the 3rd round, we see 2 quarterbacks go off the board. Still the 2nd tight end available. So if you're somebody that thinks Trey McBride is just as good for fantasy this year as Brock Bowers might be, then perhaps you're looking to wait till the middle of the 3rd round. But getting one of those 2 tight ends, I think, is real important, especially in this more shallow format where you're looking to differentiate yourself. There's a lot of running backs, a lot of wide receivers. Want to make sure you get elite at those onesie positions, quarterback and tight end. Take a look at the board here. Jonathan Taylor is at the top of the ADP. Chase Brown, if we want to go another running back. I could really test the theory that I'm going to get great wide receiver value in the middle rounds here by drafting Chase Brown. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click Chase Brown. Jaden Daniels was the other consideration for me because, again, getting elite at that quarterback position would have been attractive. But I think Chase Brown is going to be like CMC light for the Bengals, who are going to throw the ball a ton. And he's part of that pass-catching group as a running back. So we love these 2 running backs that we picked up. But are we going to pay for it because we don't have elite wide receivers? Well, we're going to find out as this draft goes along. Joe Burrow goes off the board. We've still got a crack at one more elite rushing upside quarterback in Jalen Hurts if we want it. If we want to go that route, we could. And I very well may. Let's see what the receivers are looking like here. I love drafting from near the middle of the round because you don't have to wait too terribly long until you pick again. Guys like Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy, Jamison Williams, Tetaroa McMillan, Travis Hunter, Jalen Waddle. There's some really good receiver value. We're going to get at least 1 or 2 of those names to fall back to us. So let's go ahead and take Hurts. Hurts should be going above Joe Burrow, but strange things will happen in your home league drafts, and so you have to be able to adjust. And we end up with all the receivers that we named still available. So this is the part of the draft where it's going to be time to start hitting the receiver position. In a 10-team league, I think the depth of your bench is going to be stronger because if you're playing in a 12-team league, that's 2 additional rosters that get drafted, so everybody's a little weaker. But with only 10 league mates, you're playing with 10 total people. You're one of them. I think we're more willing to take a player like Rashee Rice through a suspension because we're still going to have a good lineup. And assuming that we make the playoffs with this team, that's really where you want to have the ability to put your best foot forward. So Rashee Rice, to me, is the pick here. We don't need another tight end like Laporta. I'm not looking in the direction of Kamara or Metcalf, 2 older players, not on explosive offenses. And we'll still probably get one of the receivers coming back to us. Devontae Smith is who we probably had a real case to take instead of Rashee Rice because we would have had that stack with Jalen Hurts. But that's okay. We're going to have Rice, and now we can take a look at guys like Jameson, Pickens, McMillan, Hunter, and Waddle. We're getting one of those guys. Would love to land two of them. You can scroll on ADP and see that Waddle is below that line, so we might even get him in the next round. Travion Henderson is another very interesting young player with some upside. But we've got a quarterback, we've got a tight end, so really it's just about sticking to wide receiver here. Jameson Williams, I think, could be a really great pick, but he's the wide receiver 2 on his Detroit Lions team behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're going to take Teteroa McMillan because he is the number 1 wide receiver for the Panthers, an offense that I think is going to have to pass quite a bit this year. And we like the trend of not a ton of wide receivers going off the board until right here at the end. Travis Hunter and Jalen Waddle go. We were hoping to be able to land one of them with this 7th-round pick. Travion Henderson, though, is still there. And I know we feel comfortable at running back. But if he's involved in the pass-catching game, he's not a terrible consideration as one of our flex options. Don't need to look at quarterback or tight end, but I'm just taking a peek. Pickens would be a great pick here. Number 2 for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. They don't really have a strong running game unless they make a trade. So I'm looking at Pickens. I'm looking at Henderson. Olave. There's some other receivers like a Jordan Addison. I think, again, I'm not afraid of those suspension players in this format because it's such a shallow league. I'm going to take Henderson. I may regret passing on Pickens, but I really feel like we have not gotten to a point where the wide receiver values are gone. I mean, we're back up again, and we lost Olave, Judy, and Pickens, but there are still so many good wide receivers. Addison, Rome Odunze, that I'm probably deciding between those two here. Why do I shy away from other players? I'll try to explain that process as I go. Godwin coming off of an injury. In Calvin Ridley, with a rookie quarterback, I don't know if you're going to get quite the jump that you're looking for and the consistency game to game. I like Addison, but he's suspended for 3 games. Addison or Odunze, well, I mean, take a look. There's a chance we get Odunze coming back in the next round. You have to use the ADP to your advantage. Where's he listed? Rome Odunze. Well, no, he's 81. He's right here. So it's probably one or the other when it comes to Addison and Odunze. But we're going to take Jordan Addison. Let's get really risky because I want to show people what it looks like to take players that, okay, I got both guys that are going to be suspended at the wide receiver position. And Odunze goes off 1 pick before us in round 9. Oh, that would have been fun to get him. But, like, I will tell you straight up, I'm being super, super fast and loose at wide receiver. Rice, McMillan, Addison, love the talents. But Rice and Addison aren't playing week 1 or week 2 or week 3. So that's why our bench is going to really have to start getting loaded at receiver. But I still feel there are really good values to chase here. And because we have a top 4 quarterback with rushing upside to finish QB1 and a number 1 tight end, along with running backs like Gibbs and Chase Brown, who are going to be volume kings and have explosive plays within them and catch passes in PPR, because of all of those things, I'm not afraid to play riskier when it comes to wide receiver. Emeka Egbuka is a guy that I really want to make sure to get. And I think I can get him on the way back here if we take a different rookie in Matthew Golden. Again, right now, we're not that worried about our week 1 lineup. We are just trying to stack elite talents to build the best, deepest receiver room and overall team that we possibly can. And that's taking darts on rookies. You're not seeing me even glance in the direction of some veteran players, right? Of guys with capped upsides. Deebo Samuel is an example. Cooper Kupp. I like those guys in past years, but I'm looking for the next version of those players that are entering their primes. Emeka Egbuka is the pick that I'm going to make here. Good strategy to use. Just go ahead and put him in your queue. That way, if you get to talking or get to thinking about something else and you forget, you miss your pick, well, you have him sitting right there. Egbuka, super talented rookie wide receiver. I got a lot of rookies on this team. I'm not worried about that. If we feel like we need a little bit more safety and certainty as we go deeper in the draft, we'll draft some of that. But I just don't feel the need to do it. With a 5-man bench, you can really take some risks. And if a couple of them pay off, well, great. That's your lineup. It's a 10-team league. It's not rocket science. We don't really care about running back anymore because we've got 3 of them. And in this format, the waivers are going to be very active as well. And so I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Let's take another wide receiver. Jaden Reed, Brandon Ayuk, couple injury designations. Same for Darnell Mooney. But if I keep sliding, I'll find a rookie. And we're going to take Jaden Higgins. Keon Coleman would have been a good consideration here as well. And I may consider doing something I don't often do. Dallas Goedert is a name I'm keeping an eye on. Even though I've got a tight end in Brock Bowers, it might be fun to have Goddard on the bench, and if he makes a real connection with Jalen Hurts, maybe I flex him. I don't normally think that way, but that's just a name I'm going to keep starred here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers, but remember, 2 of them will begin the season suspended. But McMillan, I mean, we've got all rookie wide receivers. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park in the early weeks, but if we don't think that Hurts, Gibbs, Chase Brown, and Brock Bowers can carry our team while some of these young players sort themselves out, then I'm not really sure why we're even playing the game. All right? I might take Keon Coleman. Not a rookie, but a second-year player, so a little bit more experience. Might be willing to plug him in my week 1 lineup over one of these rookies. But with Golden, Igbuka, Jaden Higgins, Travion Henderson, with those guys, we're just kind of waiting to see what the reports are on how much they're going to play early on. And if we don't get something really surefire about those players and their workloads, well, then that's okay. We'll go ahead and just start a guy like Keon Coleman, who we know should be playing a good amount for the Buffalo Bills. Good offense. Last pick here in this draft. We only have 3 running backs, so we may grab a 4th one. I know I talked about the Dallas Goedert thing. I don't think I'm going to do it. We're going to take him off. We're going to grab one running back that I like here. I've been taking Trey Benson a bunch. And so we'll end with going Trey Benson here because I think he is going to be in a timeshare with James Conner, and I think James Conner is going to wear down at some point. I'm betting against the Camaras, the Connors, trying to find some other, Joe Mixon. Like, those are the 3 guys that I'm probably betting the most against. That's like the little mini RB dead zone for me. That's a spot in the draft where when I take Rice, Kamara, Connor, and Mixon are the next 3 running backs to go. And that's where you want to be hitting wide receiver. It's unbelievable to draft a running back in that range, in my opinion. I just couldn't fathom it. I won't do it once because I'm going Rice or DJ Moore or Smith or Zay Flowers or Worthy or McMillan or Jamison Williams or Travis Hunter or Jalen Waddle. Like, the only running back in that whole entire range I really would take is Travion Henderson, and he's toward the back of it. I don't mind Pacheco or Montgomery. Unless it's an auction draft, that's the only time I'd be taking those guys because I just feel like this is the way to go. I may have the quarterback 1 and the tight end 1 on the same team. May have the running back 1, possibly 2 top 5 running backs in this format, PPR. Henderson, yeah, maybe that was a luxury pick for this roster. Could have used maybe a little bit more locked-in wide receiver value. Maybe I should have taken a Dunze instead of Addison simply because of the suspension for Jordan Addison. But we'll get through the first few weeks of the season, and then, again, if we go 2-2 over the first 4 weeks and we get Rice back and Addison back, this is going to be a really, really good team. Because the strength of the team is the tight end and the quarterback, along with the top running back that we picked. And when you can have that be your strength and your wide receivers still as good as they are, then that you're feeling pretty good. So that'll do it for this video. Let me know in the chat, in the comments below, what you want to see from this channel moving forward. But we will keep coming at you with the mock drafts all August long and into the early portion of September. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to subscribe. Peace.